Criminal romance, the dark fascination with murderers. This is Crime Bites. I'm your host, Carrie Drobin, former prosecutor and criminal defense attorney and multi-published award-winning true crime author. This is the darker corner of human behavior. Today, we're diving into a phenomenon that leaves many of us perplexed: criminal romance. What compels some women to idolize, defend, even fall in love with the most notorious killers of our time? From Ted Bundy's love letters to the modern-day infatuation with Bryan Kohberger, let's unpack the psychology behind this unsettling fascination. Ted Bundy, a man who brutally murdered at least 30 women, was also the recipient of countless love letters and marriage proposals during his trial. Women packed the courtroom, their eyes locked on his every move, charmed by his will and good looks. Bundy even married one of his admirers in the middle of his trial, solidifying his infamous legacy not just as a killer, but as a figure of bizarre romantic obsession. Fast forward to today, and we see history repeating itself. Bryan Kohberger, accused of brutally stabbing 4 college students, has his own legion of fans, if you can believe that. His bad boy appeal has fans on social media calling him hot, romanticizing his mugshot, claiming he's been wronged by the system. One fan described him as her divine masculine counterpart, projecting onto him an image of what she needs and ignoring the mounting evidence against him. But this is no isolated phenomenon. James Holmes, the Aurora movie theater shooter, had admirers who dubbed him homies. Charles Manson, with a twisted ideology, amassed followers willing to kill for him. Manson himself received letters from admirers and had a persistent cult following even decades after his conviction. Some women saw him as a misunderstood spiritual leader, captivated by his ideology. The Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, had fans and admirers despite his horrific crimes. He was convicted of 13 murders and numerous other violent crimes during the 1980s in California, but he still received letters, gifts, even marriage proposals while incarcerated. One woman even married him while he was on death row. So like Kohberger and Bundy, many of the Night Stalker's admirers were captivated by his appearance, his defiant courtroom demeanor, and the media attention surrounding his trial. The media often emphasized the Night Stalker's rock star appearance and rebellious persona. His smirking photos in the courtroom and stories about his satanic beliefs created a macabre mystique that drew people in. The pattern is undeniable and chilling. Psychologists call this behavior hybristophilia, a condition where people are sexually or emotionally attracted to individuals who commit heinous crimes. But why? Why would anyone idolize a murderer? To understand it, we need to step into the psychology of these admirers. According to experts, many of these women have experienced trauma or abusive relationships themselves. So they're fixating on a criminal who is behind bars offers them a sense of control, right? They can adore him without fear of him harming them. He is caged, powerless, safe for adoration, dependent on their attention. It's a rescue fantasy, a belief that they alone can truly understand and save him. For others, it's not about redemption, but fascination with the killer's darkness. These women are captivated by dominance and control, projecting fantasies that transform monsters into romanticized figures. This fascination isn't new, but it's amplified in the digital age. We have online forums and social media fan groups that fuel these obsessions, allowing whole communities to construct a collective delusion. So if enough people agree on a fictional narrative, like Kohberger being a misunderstood victim, then it starts to feel real. It's like the supreme gaslighting, groupthink takes over, blurring the lines between fact and fantasy, right? They become a blank slate for people to project their own fantasies onto. So fans construct an image of him that often ignore or downplay the brutal reality of his crimes. Rachel Monroe wrote a book called Savage Appetites, where she explores why so many of us are drawn to true crime, right? Monroe highlights 4 archetypes. There's the detective, which fulfills the desire to solve puzzles and impose order. There's the victim, which allows people to explore their vulnerability and mortality. The defender, which appeals to those who want to fight injustice. And the killer, that taps into a darker fascination with power, transgression, and the allure of evil. For some, this obsession with crime comes from a deep desire to connect with one of those roles. So the killer becomes an object of fascination, a character in an ongoing drama that they create. True crime entertainment blurs reality, and figures like Kohlberger are transformed into tragic antiheroes rather than predators. So the author might argue that Kohlberger represents a perfect storm of factors that drive women's fascination with crime: the blending of reality and entertainment, the allure of danger, the desire to fix or protect someone perceived as broken. Kohlberger's case demonstrates how our collective obsession with true crime shapes and sometimes warps our understanding of justice, morality, and humanity. I mean, when we romanticize killers, we risk erasing their victims, right? We lose sight of the lives these people destroyed. This distortion is dangerous, not just for our moral compass, but for the legal system itself. Kohlberger's defense team has the responsibility to ensure that he gets a fair trial, but fair does not mean false. And some of the narratives being pushed, like Kohlberger simply stargazing the night of his murders, they border on the preposterous, and the facts paint a clear picture of a calculated predator, yet his fans refuse to see it. Instead, they've built an elaborate fantasy where he is the victim, deserving of their sympathy and devotion. I mean, this same was true for Ted Bundy. His charisma overshadowed his crimes. And Charles Manson, his rebellion drew followers who believed in his vision, no matter how twisted, right? This is the danger of the sort of mental manipulation. We are living in a golden age of true crime. There are podcasts, documentaries, online sleuthing. They've turned real life horror into entertainment. But when killers become characters in their own unraveling dramas, the lines start to blur. And as a society, we have to ask ourselves, where do we draw the line between curiosity and complicity? Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe and leave a review. And remember, fascination with true crime is natural, but let's not forget the real people, the real lives behind these stories. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and above all, stay safe.